Saros is some of the most fun I have ever had with a video game. I don't know what else to say. I can't even try to keep you on the edge of your seat with anticipation. Oh, what does he think of the game? Does he like it? Does he not like it? What's the verdict gonna be? I can't leave you in suspense for this one. Saros isn't my favorite game I've ever played, but it's absolutely some of the most pure, unadulterated, no-nonsense fun I have ever had playing a video game. So let me explain. You play as Arjun Devraj, an enforcer for the Soltari Corporation who's been sent to the planet of Carcosa to mine Lucenite, an incredibly rare and valuable resource only found on Carcosa. The only problem is, Carcosa is home to horrifying creatures that definitely do not take kindly to you taking their valuable resources. That is where Arjun comes in, the undervalued Soltari enforcer that has the skills and the mysterious abilities to dispatch enemies and, well, be dispatched himself and then come back stronger. You see, Arjun doesn't know why he has the ability to die and come back to life. It's not like most video games where you just restart from a checkpoint or respawn without a second thought. Arjun is fully aware that he's being killed and then being brought back to life. He just doesn't know why or how. Carcosa is an uncharted alien planet and nobody has any idea what's going on. Soltari didn't expect people's minds and bodies to be altered, but that's a central theme of Carcosa. Once there, nothing ever remains the same, even Carcosa itself. So Arjun has no idea why his body is changing, his mind is changing, his abilities, thoughts, surroundings, friends, the very world he is inhabiting is all changing around him. It's all very mysterious and incredibly intriguing from the start. Saros' storytelling is very sporadic, but it's intentional. So you have to understand, they want this mystery to confuse you. They want you to feel like you are experiencing Carcosa with the rest of these characters. It's very Christopher Nolan-esque, just confusing enough to keep you intrigued and wanting more, while you're secretly a bit concerned about how it's gonna bring all of its questions together for a satisfying conclusion. Think Memento or Inception. There are cutscenes throughout Saros, but they are short and sweet. This game tells its story piece by piece. It drops breadcrumbs here and there, audio logs you find scattered strategically throughout the game world, text logs that you find as you explore, and characters you encounter in safe zones as you traverse this shifting setting. While it reminds me of movies like the aforementioned Memento and Inception, Saros tells its story video game-wise a lot like BioShock, with its audio logs and minimal cutscenes. I'm sure plenty of gamers like this method of storytelling, while I know other gamers don't much care for it. I do believe it's for a specific purpose, though, and here, that's because Saros wants you to be engaged in the action as much as possible with as little downtime as it can get away with. This is a gameplay-first type of video game through and through, and that's not to say that the story is throwaway, far from it, actually, which, in my opinion, is all the more impressive with what Housemarque has managed to muster with this narrative. In the end, I wasn't blown away by the conclusion here. When the credits rolled, I sat and thought about the grueling adventure I had just been on, and I was satisfied with the story that I had just experienced. Blown away? No, but it's a solid narrative bolstered by a fantastic main performance from Rahul Kohli as Arjun. The biggest negative that I have with this story, and honestly the game as a whole, is the surrounding characters. There's a handful of supporting cast in this game we're clearly meant to care about, but I never did, mostly because they're not given much of anything to really work with. There's some pretty dramatic situations that occur throughout with these characters, but I was never attached enough to any of them to be very concerned with what happened to any of them. Honestly, I feel like the story that was told would have been more effective if Arjun was just mostly alone. They didn't really need any of these supporting characters, and like I said, the main performance from Rahul as Arjun was very good. He brings an impactful gravitas to his performance that could have been just as good, if not better, without all of these others getting in the way. Ultimately, though, while the story was still very much worth it to experience, this gameplay is where this conversation is going to get good. This is probably going to sound like an over-exaggeration, but I promise you it's not. This is arguably the best and most satisfying gameplay I have ever experienced in my 25 years of playing video games. Like I said at the beginning, I don't necessarily think Saros as a whole is going to be one of my all-time favorite games, but it absolutely will be fondly remembered as one of the most accessibly fun games that I've ever touched. What's a game with dang near flawless 10 out of 10 gameplay, you ask? It's this. Every single weapon feels fantastic. The movement options are smooth, 100% necessary, and simple. Perfectly functional, nothing more, nothing less. You can jump, dodge, and parry, and you can use a shield and you'll get a grappling hook eventually. For combat options, there's a handful of weapons with tons of different variants. There's a punch up-close melee option, there's a stronger limited-use ranged attack with your arm, and there's one ultimate move called Overdrive that's reserved for tactical use on the big bads. All of this works to absolute gameplay perfection, and I mean that literally. The entirety of this game might not be a perfect 10 out of 10 score. I mean, I don't give arbitrary review score numbers anyway, but if I ever did, it would be right here and now for Saros' gameplay. 10 out of 10 masterpiece, full stop. Housemarque describes this as a bullet ballet, and I couldn't put it any better. If a studio has ever achieved flow state with its gameplay, you're looking at it right now. There's only a handful of different base weapons, a handgun, an automatic rifle, a shotgun, and a crossbow type weapon, but there's tons of different variants for these bad boys, and the best part, none of them feel inferior to another. You might personally like one more, but they all remain viable because you're constantly getting better variants of each weapon. Just like Carcosa continuously changes, so do your guns. As you play, you'll come across all kinds of different variants, and it's almost always beneficial to pick up whatever new variant you come across. So like I said, the game never really lets you become attached to one specific weapon. That could be annoying if you found a variant that you really love, but in this case, legitimately every one of these guns is just plain fun to use. So the constant picking up of stronger guns every few minutes is an engaging positive as opposed to the frustrating negative it could have easily been. So they struck the perfect balance with this weapon system, but it only gets better when you throw in the movement, the melee, your ranged special attack, and your ultimate overdrive, along with the normal gameplay world and the Eclipse gameplay world, which makes things harder but gives you a lot more rewards as you play. Again, everything in this game is just perfectly balanced when it comes to the gameplay, and it's fun from the start, but when you become proficient at chaining all of this together into that beautiful ballet, a better gameplay experience simply does not exist. The biggest praise I can give this game in the gameplay department is this. I do not like roguelike or roguelite games. I avoid this genre. I have never found the loop of going into these gameplay runs where you can go through an entire level and die halfway through, or get to the end level boss and die in the boss fight, and you don't just start that boss fight over, you have to go back through the entire level just to get back to the awesome boss fight. I've never understood it. It never appealed to me, but here, I'm not even mad when I have to go back through these levels because it's just that much fun. And a big part of this remaining engaging and enjoyable is the constant progression system. When you die in Saros, you don't lose everything. The main tagline is come back stronger. Each death is not only a learning experience, it's a growing experience. Just like my granddaddy has always told me, failure isn't something to be frowned upon. It's something to embrace and learn from. There is no failure. There's only growth. Saros takes this idea and implements it to perfection. In other roguelites where I felt frustrated and punished upon death, in Saros, I felt rewarded and excited for a new challenge to overcome. Just one more run. I'm confident that I'll succeed this time. And even if I didn't and I died again, whatever, just get me back in there and have a blast taking out waves of enemies in that flow state. Speaking of dying in a boss fight, I love me a good boss fight, and these are some dang good boss fights. Each an ultimate test of your skills and understanding of what Saros teaches you as you play, die, and come back stronger. There's only a handful of Overlord boss fights in the game, but they are so incredibly worth it, and each one of them was a true test of skill and grit. And of course, when you do come out on top, there's just no other feeling like it in gaming. This game world is also absolutely stunning. I love me a good slow walk and cinematic camera pan to really take in beautiful video game vistas. And man, this is something else. I was regularly taken aback by how impressive this game looks. The artwork on display here is something to be admired. So in your downtime, enjoy what you're looking at because it is impressive. The sound design here is also immaculate. I'm not a huge music and sound guy. It just rarely is something that I connect with. But this is like Dead Space levels of sound design. If you don't have a good pair of headphones and you intend to play this game, please do everything you can to get your hands on the best possible set of headphones. I think Saros is a must-play video game for anyone who enjoys games, honestly. Even if you're not a roguelike kind of gamer, even if you are deterred by difficult games, I think this is such a well-made, fun game that you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not playing it. Saros simply never stops being fun from beginning to end, and for that, I can't recommend this game enough.